paradigm for the type 1 versus type 2 suffixes. Alright, next slide. Another distinction between type 1 and type 2 suffixes. These are the feminine nouns now. We had the example with the masculine noun. This is the feminine noun, Torah, which is law. Will be my law will be Torah-ti. My laws will be Torotai. Your law will be Tortecha. Your laws will be Toroteicha. Again, disregard this little star point here. That's not a part of the vocal pronunciation or any accentuation points. Second feminine singular, Toratech, your law, and then Torotaich, your laws, and so on. You can all see them in the textbook. Torato, his law. Toratach, again, might be here and here. I might ask you what that sign is, and you'll have to tell me that it's mapi. It's written like this. Second masculine plural, Torah Techem. Second feminine plural, Torah Techen. It's pretty consistent. If you look at the suffixes, it's pretty consistent. There's not too much difference in the suffixes as they progress with feminine or masculine nouns. Just common feminine endings with ot, masculine endings with im. And then you add suffix, and the suffixes are pretty consistent. You have to kind of memorize the vowel patterns on them because this is what's most important. When you add suffix, the vowel pattern on the word might change. Note on feminine nouns. When a feminine singular noun ending in bach, as in Torah, receives a pronominal suffix, the hey is replaced by tau. Torah becomes Torat. Okay? So that's a little significant note on the feminine nouns. There are certain vowel changes in nouns with pronominal suffixes, and let's look at them. Let's look at the page 86. Upper portion of the page, you will see a little paradigm. Davar is changing into Devari with Shava, Kametz, Hirek Yod. So the reason why the Kametz under Dalet is being shortened to Shava is because you're adding a longer vowel for the suffix. Hirek Yod. Do you understand what's happening here? You add Hirek Yod to the end of the word, which places a long, unchangeable vowel at the end of the word, which means there should be a propretonic reduction in vowels. So that comments in the beginning of the word is shortened to Shava to compensate for the lengthening of the last syllable. Is that clear? Same thing, davar changes into diberehen. We're adding yod, hen, with long vowel yod, and certainly longer than just hatef segol. Segol is a long e. Actually, it's normal e. Sere is a longer e sound. But we're adding 3 consonants. One of them is playing role of the vowel. So that's why davar is eventually changed to dalet with a shava. But two shavas in a row are not tolerated in the Hebrew. So, for the sake of that rule, two shavas are actually lengthened into hirek under dalet. Then there's a silent shva. Then there's a sere, yod, and segol. So it's long, short pattern. See that? And if we look at the bait house, it will change to beiteha. See that? Because you have sere yod, very long, unchangeable vowel, then short shva, and then longer comments. Again, long, short, long. Mavet, or rather mavet, changes to moto, and it's not Motorola. It means his death. While rolling, if you translate Motorola according to Hebrew rules, will be his death while rolling. So, moto, you see that comment is changing into actually colon vav. That shows you that comment becomes unaccented in a closed syllable. That's why it's becoming even more than comments. It becomes into a long O sound. And we're adding another O at the end of the tav. So these are some changes in the vowel patterns that are happening in these nouns. And as you do exercise, you might encounter more of them. Monosyllabic nouns with pronominal suffixes. What are the monosyllabic nouns? These are nouns with one syllable, right? Monosyllabic. So there are a number of high-frequency monosyllabic nouns that will add yod to their stem before a pronominal suffix. There's another point. Yod is used to be added onto the end of the monosyllabic noun before the pronominal suffix, which will basically distinguish suffix from a noun. It makes life easier to distinguish them. So monosyllabic nouns, let's say ach, which is brother, would be ahi, my brother, or my brothers will be ahai. Your brother, ahiha. Your brothers, aheha. See how they change? They don't repeat the same hearing complex combination. Ahich, your brother, if you're talking to a lady, and then ahaich, your brothers. Third masculine singular, ahiv. See, if the vav is by itself, it's read as vav, full of sound. Ahiv, or ehaiv, his brothers. Ahiha, her brother, or aheha, her brothers. Yes.
Can you explain how brothers can be feminine? Or are we talking about it's feminine because that's the person we're
Her
talking
brother.
to?
It's feminine
Okay.
suffix on the end of the brother. It's not
Okay.
feminine noun. It's a noun
Gotcha.
with a feminine suffix.
So it's not referring to the brother, it's referring to the person who the brothers are.
Exactly. It's
Gotcha.
her brother.
Okay.
Her brothers. First common plural, ahinu, our brother, or ahenu, our brothers. Second masculine plural, ahihem, or aheham. And you have to be careful here because the difference of one little vowel point,
Wow.
hirek or serek, makes it into a singular or plural. So you have to be careful when you distinguish between the two. And you'll be able to get a hold of it once you do a translation or two. Yeah, it's not that difficult. The main thing is to remember what the suffix ending is because that's the main portion here. The vowel patterns, they kind of will fall in place, and even if you won't get a right vowel point, you can get it from a dictionary or lexicon. That's not the main thing. But suffix itself will throw you off on translation. Miss it. And then it follows according to the same pattern. Prepositions with pronominal suffixes. When the pronominal suffix is added to a preposition, then the pronominal suffix is objective rather than possessive. We were discussing it that possession means that it's his horse, her brother, his brother. When we're talking about objective, we're talking about to her, to him, to give something to him, to her, and so on and so forth. So we are actually directing something to this individual, or referring to them. Let's look how pronominal suffixes appear on prepositions. Let's see, we'll have a preposition le, which means to, will be li, to me, leha, to you, lach, to you, feminine, lo, to him, lach, to her, with a different hey rather than kaf, final. Same pronunciation, different letter. Lanu, to us, lahem, to you, lahen, to you, feminine, lahem, and lahen. And you can see that the only difference between the first column and the second column is that there is that yod appearing before the suffix. One thing. And if you look at all these pronominal suffixes, they're pretty consistent with their endings. You can see yod by itself is usually for first common singular. Ha with the kaf, kamet, is usually for second masculine singular. Second feminine singular would usually have shba in the same kaf. For a third masculine singular, there's hole and vav. Hey with mapik for a third feminine singular. Nu for first common plural, which means us or we. And then second masculine plural is hem, and feminine plural hen. So you have ha, h, then hem, hen, and then hem, hen with a different letter, same sound. See that? So pattern is pretty easy to remember, and it's pretty consistent throughout. There's just different nuances added to different types of verbs, meaning nouns or prepositions in this category. Notes on prepositions. The preposition le, which means to or for, be, which means in or on, im with, and et with, all take type 1 suffixes. So these simple prepositions will take type 1 suffixes. That means you don't have to worry about that yod appearing before the suffix. It usually will be pretty normal, first form. And prepositions that take type 2 suffixes include al, el, tahat, and acharei. These ones will have actually yod before the pronominal suffix. And it's in your textbooks as well.